Mic check 1 2. Who do we have in the house? Welcome to the last one of the lives of the teacher camp that we do over here in the BBOY Dojo IG account. My name is Focus of the Flow Mo Crew, and we have a special guest today who is Jeremy of the Break Free Worldwide, straight out of Houston, Texas. So today we're going to build about inspiring the next generation, which is of course why we teach. Getting the next generation on board, get them inspired, and get them to do great things for their life, change their life for the better. Let me know who's in the house with a comment below before we get Jeremy live over here on the call. Also let me know if the volume is alright, if the sound is cool. Doing it live from my car today, so hopefully everything works out great. Did a beautiful weekend over here in Helsinki last weekend. A camp for the national breaking team Finland. So we had 12 people over there with the camp, with our coaches, 2 breaking coaches, physical coaches, the doctor, the naturopath, and so on and so on. We had an awesome weekend over here. We're getting ready for the breaking teacher camp, which starts to go deeper in the next couple of days. We go live on Thursday again, we go live on Friday, and we go live on Monday. So all of this you can access for free. Go to bboydojo.com/teacherscamp and book your spot. We only got 100 spots available worldwide, free of charge. So let's do this. All right. So let me see. Sound is clear, great. Chronic in the house, all good in the hood. Let me see if we can request Jeremy to be part of it. Boom.
Yo!
What's up, brother?
Hey, how's it
Good
going?
to see you, man. Good to see you.
Good to see you as well. How are you doing today?
Good, brother. How are you? How's your morning?
Well, it's actually evening over here already, 6 p.m., so it's about to get dark.
Yeah.
All good up.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man.
My pleasure completely. Thank you for your time. Well, let's get right into it, man. Inspiring the next generation is the theme of today, so dope to have you over here with us. And maybe we can start with something silly. Well, what did you have for breakfast today?
Actually, I haven't had anything yet. I haven't actually eaten anything, or I had a glass of water. That's what I had for breakfast. But I've been doing this kind of intermittent fasting thing. So I have a big meal late at night, and then I've been trying to have this routine where in the morning I get movement going. So whether it's like a strength and conditioning routine or me breaking in the morning, I try to make that, along with like some work that I do, I try to make that my breakfast, like work and movement. And then I'll have a large lunch later in the day.
I like that approach. So you go for the 16/8 sequence with the intermittent fasting, or how do you do it? Do you go for the 16/8 sequence with your fasting, or how do you do it?
I don't really follow like a strict timeline or hourly. So I have my last meal, I'll make it a big one. And then typically I'll have lunch around 12 or 1. So I'm having my last meal like between the 6 to 8 o'clock time frame, and then having my next meal like around 12 to 1. So
yeah, that comes down to about 16 hours of fasting, and within an 8-hour sequence or window you have all your meals, except for the workout in the morning.
About a little over a month now, and I've been seeing some good results with it. So
yeah, it's a great way of approaching well-being. I've been messing around with it for a couple of years already, and always back and forth, but that's pretty much the normal for me as well. So keep going. All right, for the people who don't know, can you introduce yourself and what do you do?
For sure, yeah. My name is Jeremy. I'm a breaker from Havikoro crew. That's my school of breaking. My mentors come from Havikoro crew. I still represent Havikoro, of course. Also represent Break Free Worldwide, a company founded by Moy, BBOY Moy. A lot of people know who Moy Rivas is, but he's one of my biggest mentors and crewmate in Havikoro crew. But I joined Moy in 2011 when Break Free Worldwide, Break Free Community Center actually opened. And fast forward all these years later, I'm now the president of Break Free Worldwide. So Havikoro, Break Free Worldwide, Monster Energy Breakers as well. And in the business of educating, proliferating hip hop culture through the world, I've been blessed and lucky to be able to do what I love for a living and connect with people such as yourself, Focus. And yeah, really, to kind of summarize it, I love what I do and I do what I love. And my name is Jeremy from Houston, Texas.
Yes, indeed. Can you tell more about the Break Free? What do you do with Break Free, and what is it eventually?
For
And
sure.
how did it started compared to what it is today?
Yeah. So I mentioned Break Free started as Break Free Community Center, right? So even before that, Break Free was kind of a vision and a lifestyle, a motto that was coined by Moy, the founder, right? So there was actually a lot of people know or were first introduced to Break Free from the event. There was a big annual Break Free event that we threw here in Houston. So that preceded the community center, which opened in 2011. So Moy, along with another community activist here in Houston, his name is Adrian Flores. They threw the first event, I believe in 2009, 2008, like a small church. And 2011, the community center opened up. I remember I was working at Sprint, the cell phone company at the time. It was one of my first jobs. I was like 19 years old, been breaking for like 3-4 years. And Moy was like, yo, I'm opening Break Free, this community center, and I need a person, I need a right-hand man. I want you to be it. He was like, I don't have any money for you right now, but we'll get there. And I remember I quit my job once he said that. And fast forward all these years later, we're Break Free Community Center. To kind of go along the timeline, Break Free Community Center turned into Break Free Hip Hop School, where we started to orient it more towards education and classes. And then we opened up multiple hip hop school locations in Houston, eventually one in other cities in the United States, and now one in Italy, the first one in Europe. And whenever we started to open up these multiple hip hop schools and expand our event sectors and do more things on a global level, we coined Break Free Worldwide. So Break Free Worldwide is now the umbrella company and agency which produces events, enacts hip hop schools, creates content, a media company, acts as a management company for professional artists such as the Monster Energy Breakers. And yeah, it's been a long journey, a good fulfilling one. Not completely fulfilled because still a lot of work to do, but yeah, I would say that summarizes. And in my personal role and capacity, I'll make this real quick. I started off teaching, right? Day to day, hours and hours and hours, teaching, all levels. And then fast forward to today, I teach our advanced level, our champions program now strictly as far as teaching. And I'm the president, which means I just oversee all operations, back end, front end, conceptualizing our programs, running our operations. That's definitely been a journey coming from, again, like I said, just working at Sprint. That was one of my only jobs at a cell phone company, and then really to start a business and run a company now to the point that we're at now. So
That to jump leap of faith right there. It's like, all right,
exactly.
you quit your job. I can't guarantee a pay, but when you dedicate yourself into it, then it can turn out beautiful.
That's exactly
Respect. Yeah. Can you explain a little bit further about what do you teach and what levels and age groups?
For sure. Yeah. So currently I teach our advanced level, which is our champions program. Within the hip hop schools that we have a program called the Boom Bap program. This is our toddler program, ages 3 to 6 years old. Then we have, it's a dope name, right? Boom Baps. And then we have our beginner level from ages 7 on up, intermediate level, and advanced level. This is all within the hip hop schools. And then outside of the hip hop schools, we have our champions program, which kind of sits at the worldwide level. So this is the level that, in a teaching sense, myself, Moy, Palmer, and Nasty Nate from Havikoro, we're the champions instructors. And this is, you can look at it like after they go through the whole curriculum within our hip hop school system and they graduate from the advanced level, then they're ready for the worldwide champions level, which is where we train them to compete on national, international levels, introduce them to paid performances, pretty much like this is the point now where you're dedicating your life to this and you want to enter the path of a professional artist. So currently in the teaching sense, that's the only class that I teach right now at champions level.
All right. But was it so that you started teaching all age groups and also kids and kind of elevated from there to dedicating to the champions program right now?
Yeah. So in the early days in 2011 and even preceding that for Break Free, Moy and I were teaching Monday through Friday from the smaller boom bap toddler programs all the way up into everything, you know. I also have to say, outside of Break Free, I have to shout out this program in Whitehorse, Yukon. It's the Leaping Feet studio there. They actually have an application process open now, but I did 10 months over there. It's a studio out there in Canada. And I was teaching Monday through Saturday, like 30 hours a week, all ages. So this heavy regiment into teaching, along with what I was doing at Break Free, it kind of really had me develop like teaching as a skill. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, teaching is a separate skill. It's a separate art form, you know, outside of breaking. So that I have to shout them out because along with, you know, on the day-to-day grind, building Break Free, along with that teaching stint in Yukon, I was really just through sheer volume, you know, like just teaching hours and hours and hours. Like I learned mistakes. I learned from my mistakes. I learned, you know, what I can do, what I can't do in the classroom, positive things, negative things, and just contributing that to my skill as a teacher, you know?
Yes, indeed. How would you approach differently, let's say, teaching kids compared to the champion program? Completely different thing, right? What kind of approach do you have for kids? How do you keep them inspired? That's probably the question that we get the most. How to keep the kids inspired, right? Compared to the champions program, for example.
Well, when it comes to kids entering on a beginner level, especially, like the first thing you have to do is you have to captivate their attention, number one. And then two, you kind of have to gain their respect too, right? I would kind of view it as those two things. So captivating their attention is like, it's easily achievable, like with breaking. Like if it's a kid's first day, if you just do a move, they're going to be like, whoa, you know what I mean? But captivation has to keep going, like especially if they're coming on a weekly basis, you know? So you have to find new ways just to be, the best way I can say it is to be charismatic and fun. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, they're youth, they're children, so they want to have fun. So you have to find that delicate balance between, you know, being charismatic and fun, but also being strict and adhering to whatever lesson plans you have, you know? And I think that goes into gaining the respect of them, you know? I think you can't, of course, let your students walk all over you and allow them to do whatever you want. So there's that balance between captivating their attention through fun and then also gaining their respect by, you know, being a person of your word, you know, like following through with what you're saying, delivering what you promise, things like that. It's very all the concepts that kind of lie outside of breaking, you know what I mean? Like, I'm sure people have heard this before. You don't have to be the illest on the world to be the illest teacher. You know what I mean? So you really have to look into what it is outside of the actual art and craft of breaking, as far as like how you have students like, you know, dedicate their loyalty to you and actually like focus and be in on class.
And how about the champions program in that case? How do you teach them and keep them inspired instead of just teaching moves, which almost anybody can do, but teaching mentality and inspiration? How do you fuel that?
Yeah. Well, I like to approach every single one of my lessons and classes like from I guess from a perspective and a point of view, and I reiterate this every single class, pretty much. Like with my students who've been with me for years or whatever, they'll know what I mean when I'm saying this. It's, if I teach you a move or a concept, it's not about the specifics within that move or concept. It's about the overall like big picture thing that you can take home and apply to yourself, right? So let's just say it's like a sweep or two-step or flare or whatever, or even a drill. a combination. Like I can drill you in that combination over and over and over, but the takeaway from that drill is not like, okay, go home and do two-step flare, two-step flare, two-step flare over and over. It's about the reason why I'm having you drill this is because it opens up your mind to have foundational combos. Like two-step flare is already an effective, dope combo to use. So you have this knowledge of foundation already. Start to mix and match, and then drill that, and then work on your form through that way. You know, that's an example of. I think it really, to summarize it, it lies kind of in the articulation and the philosophy behind the lesson, like the mental aspect of it. You know, because you can. I think some people are like, well, you shouldn't just teach moves in class. You shouldn't, but you should teach moves, but you have to kind of back it up with the explanation and the reasoning and the why behind it. You know, I think that's kind of what sometimes people miss is they'll just run it and then, okay, the next, without like fully diving into it and fully understanding why are we doing this flare? Why are we doing this air track? Why are we doing this top rock drill? You know what I mean? So I would say on any level that should be applied, you know, but for the champions, for our highest level, it's kind of like this is a raw way of saying it, but it's kind of like a do or die moment for those kids in there, meaning like you've come all this way in the program. So like we're very upfront and transparent with them. So at that point, not to say that there's like sugar coating at the lower levels, but whenever you get to the highest level, it's like there's no sugar coating now. Like you guys know, you've been through so many different lessons and you've been with us for years. So like now it's like like we have an hour in class. There's no time wasted. If you do fail or if you do have anything that you feel negative about, speak it out and be open. So we kind of try to have this transparent and open communication channel between us as teachers and as students, because at that level I think it's necessary, because there's specific goals, like really specific goals at this level, like this jam, this competition, this performance, this whatever it is, you establishing your brand, your image more, so whenever you have specific goals like that with students, I think it's important to really establish that trust and that open, transparent communication channel between you and them. So,
great words. How would you define the difference between a teacher, a coach, and a community leader? You're all of those three, but do you see a difference between the roles?
Yeah, definitely. Teacher, I would say, is your active role within the classroom. So like within that hour and a half or two, like you're a teacher at that point. That's the hat that you put on, right? As a community leader, I would say that's everything outside of the classroom. So outside of that hour, outside of the hour and a half, that 2 hours, the way you carry yourself, the examples you set, whether it is not whether, but in your personal life and in your professional life, we all know how the world is nowadays with social media and eyes are on you at all times. You know what I mean? There's always going to be word of mouth and people speaking on your character and the conversations you have. So as a community leader, that's pretty much, I would say, your actions everywhere outside of the classroom. And remind me of the third one, focus. What was the third one that you said?
Coach.
I would say coach is whenever it comes down to actually applying the lessons that you teach in class. So whether that be in a battle or a performance, on that day when you're there with your student, that's when you're a coach. That's when you're trying to motivate, when you're trying to get all those lessons that you were teaching in those moments in classroom, you're trying to get those to stick and be at the forefront of whenever they're performing or they're battling or whatnot. So I would say those titles are all kind of dependent on where you're at, like physically, meaning teacher is in the classroom, community leader is outside everywhere else in the classroom, coach is in the moment, battle, performance, where they're applying that technique in those lessons in the classroom.
Yeah, you give your all, no matter the title, no matter which one of the three you're handling with right now. You still gotta give it your all. What do you think coaching is important in the future once the battles and the events get bigger, stages get bigger, and so on?
Yeah, I think it's obviously important and necessary. The way that I see it is, regardless of how big the battles are, whatever platform it is, the necessity of coaching is there, and it's always been there, right? Maybe it's more at the forefront now as the priorities of the scene shift, but like battles have always been here. It's debatable on how how big they are now compared to how they were before, and as far as perspective, you know. But I guess what I'm saying is, the way that I see it is, regardless if it's Olympics or community jam or whatever it may be, you should be able to, you should, as a teacher, as a coach, put in that same priority and passion and effort as a coach in that moment. You know what I mean? You have to prepare them for any situation in any platform. So, but I think to answer specifically, like in relation to particularly the Olympics or battles getting bigger on stages, I think that has made it to where we need to pay more attention to kind of how we approach it. Because I think, and this is not just with coaching, this is with a lot of things. It's like, I think sometimes a lot of people, especially nowadays, people overanalyzing it and overthinking it. You know what I mean? They're like, okay, I have to coach them. I'm there. I'm right behind you the whole time. You know what I mean? Like, and that can, depending on the student, that might be overdoing it, you know? I put like, to put that specifically, I have like a personal thing where very rarely when my student is going up to battle, like I don't get behind them. I don't like stand behind them and like in their ear. Like I stand in the crowd and I watch from afar, you know? There's very rare moments whenever I really do go up behind them, but I do that personally because I just really want them to be on their own in that sense. I want them to be able to experience that on their own, because everything I teach them in class is supposed to be applied in their own anyways. You know what I mean? So I feel like,
Yeah.
to answer the question, with the stages getting bigger, with the Olympics being here, I think the necessity of coaching has always been there, but we need to put more of a attention to detail of how we approach it, and not overdo it, and not be so. Again, that goes back to the balance of like captivation and respect. You don't want to like be so overbearing and like this and this and this, and that could potentially lose the student or have them think about things that are not of priority in the art sense, you know.
Yeah, and there's a time when you let go and trust your students as well. Trust
Exactly.
their capabilities and trust their own vision.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
important. All right. How about somebody who wants to start their own breaking related business or a community center or dance school or something like this? What would be your top 3 tips for anybody aiming to make that leap that you did from sprint?
Yes. So it's kind of funny too. Sprint, it's like running, hit the ground running. but yeah, if you're looking to start your own business in what you do and what you love, it's a leap of faith. You had it exactly right. But if I can give some specific tips, the number one thing I would say is you have to be willing. And when I say that, there's kind of some branches for that. Like you have to be willing to fail, first of all. You have to be willing to learn, and you have to be willing to be perseverant and like dedicated to what you do, right? So I put all that kind of in the first thing I would say is you just have to have a will. Like when I say will, you got to have that. People sometimes say that spirit, right? Like spirit and dedication and relentlessness. But I think about it as like, you know, throughout the years, and if you're on day one or day zero of starting something, a project or a business, you have these expectations in your head, right? And whether you know it or not, you're going to fail. And you can look at the most successful business or project; they're failing every day too. Like that's not said enough. I feel like it's like I fail every day. Like people need to know that and understand that. So when you're approaching something, if you have that willingness and understanding to fail and to learn from those mistakes, that will be the thing that really helps you keep on going and keep on pushing towards your goal, right? I would say that's the number one thing, is that will and that spirit. The second thing is not losing the reason why and your passion for things in the midst of all this chaos of like failing and learning and making mistakes and trying to strategize, right? So I've had it happen personally so many times, whether it's like a decision on a micro level or a macro level, is I'll think about it so deeply and overanalyze it. We were talking about that earlier, right? And I sometimes when I just take a step back, the solution was so simple, and it usually is just grounded in the reason why I started to do this. It's that passion, it's that love, it's that dedication. As cliche and as corny as it sounds, right? You have to approach it like that with everything you do. You have to, whether it's a business decision, a financial decision, or whatever it is. You have to look at the reason why you started to do this, right? And the reason why you continue to hit ciphers, and the reason why you continue to break and listen to music. And that's going to be the foundation and the fuel for every single decision, right? So the second thing is don't lose sight of that. You know what I mean? It's going to happen. You'll lose sight of it, but then you kind of have to realign yourself, get back on that path and understand where you're at. And the third thing I would say is going back to the will of it, right? But I guess I'll say it like, you have to be open for collaboration, especially in the community that we're in, right? I think in breaking in particular, under the umbrella of hip hop, everybody knows this. Like I've always viewed breaking as like it's kind of contradictory, but we're like a very humble community, even though there's a lot of arrogance and ego and stuff like that. But we, more than any other art form, I think, thrive off of community building, right? And even though in this modern world, fast-paced, sometimes it can seem cutthroat and they'd be like, I got to go out and get my own. You can still build with your own personal circle and incorporate more people in if you really believe and you lean into like, this is a community. Like, it's all about communal building, right? So whether it's like an IG live with one another, or if it's, inviting somebody else to come in and teach, like, you have to be open for collaboration. You can't, let me summarize it. You can't do things on your own. You just can't. No matter what anybody says, oh, I did this, I had no teachers, no mentors, no this, like, that's usually a red flag for me. Like, no, that's impossible. You know what I mean? There's somebody or something that helped you and was like a part of this collaborative process in order to get to where you are right now. Not to get too deep into it, but like, that's just the nature of world. Like, this world wasn't created by just one thing. It was like a multitude of things, and it happens every day, the way atoms and every protons, neutrons work together to create who you are in these moments. Like, you just have to look at like that, and that has me open. Like, as I mature, like, over the years I've had like negative thoughts and assumptions about people and beef or whatever it is, but if you really let that go and you let love into your heart, you'll learn. Even if somebody's being negative to you, you can use that as a positive thing to get to your goal and as a learning lesson to what you're going to. So the last thing I would say is just to be open for collaboration in all aspects, even with, take a step back and be like, do I really not like this person? Why do I not like this person? Why do I feel like, B-Boy Dojo doesn't like break free, like these assumptions in my head or whatever? Usually times they're just assumptions. They're just expectations that are wrong. You don't actually open your heart and your mind to conversations and collaboration, which make this culture thrive. You know what I mean? So I would say the willingness to fail, the willingness to persevere, passion as your foundation at all times on a micro and macro level, and 3, open for collaboration and community building with everybody.
Awesome. Awesome words. Beautiful words. Thank you. You got a good heart and an open heart as well. So
Yeah,
I'm
sure.
inspired by the talk. Thank you.
Yeah,
That's
sure.
all the questions I had in mind. So I guess I'll let you keep going with your workout. And last shout outs for where people can learn more about Break Free. What do you guys do? Any resources?
For sure. Yeah. The biggest thing would be to follow us on Instagram, Break Free Worldwide. I encourage you to do that. I encourage you to go to our website, breakfreeworldwide.com. Follow myself, Jeremy Havikoro, or B-Boy Moy, because we're always 24/7 putting out what we do and what we create, right? But the best way to be involved or support is just to any way that you can, at any capacity, whether it's tuning into a battle or a podcast or following us, sharing us. As cliche as it sounds, that all helps, in particular, if you are, I'll say this, if you are capable and the circumstances work out for you to come down to Houston at any point, not just for our events, hit me up, hit up Moy, hit up the Break Free account, whatever it is, because we're an open door for any breakers around the world, any hip hop artists. Meaning, like, if you plan a trip to Houston and if you really want to learn, like, we'll figure out how to make it happen. You know what I mean? And if you do come to one of our events, the next one is April 22nd through 24th, BreakX Grand Jam. If you're able to come to that, it's a worthy experience. We do our best to curate education, competition, and culture. And at the very least, if you can't come to the events, tune in, watch on pay-per-view, support the artists and whatnot. And outside of Break Free, B-Boy Dojo, there's countless and many organizations out there that are doing the great work, such as this, and educating. So support them in the same capacity, going off that communal building. You know what I mean? Don't just focus on one. Don't just pledge your allegiance to one organization. We're all in this together. As maybe it doesn't seem like that at sometimes, but if we all continue to be on that path, then we will. I also have to shout out Strawberry Jam. We're bringing our jam, our structure over there, and partnering with them. Shout out to Chris and D-Prank. We're doing Breakthrough Worldwide presents Strawberry Jam, middle of June, in the lovely and sunny island of Cyprus. So maybe I'd love to see you out there, Focus. I don't know how you're scheduled.
You have the specific dates? Mid-June?
June 8th through the 12th, I believe, or June 9th through the 12th. Right. But I'll hit you up about it for sure, because I know it's not that far away from you. And yeah, we're bringing our whole structure over there, and D-Prank and Chris are really, really great individuals. They're on the same wavelength as well, too. So we look to kind of bring our universe and some dope artists over there June 8th to the 12th.
Absolutely. I love these guys.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
10th through the 13th. Cool. Look at that. I got the dates wrong. I'm sorry. 10th through the 13th.
There you go. There you go. All good. Well, hey, thank you for your time. And like you heard it straight from the man, go and support, give them a follow, and Rock Break X Jam and all the other stuff that these guys are doing.
It was a pleasure.
Right, that's about it. My
Always.
pleasure complete. We stay in touch. We're built.
Thank you, brother. Peace.
Later. And for everybody else, get out to bboydojo.com/teacherscamp. We keep moving with the teacher lectures this Thursday, this Friday, and next Monday. We got some awesome program over there. You can find everything on the links. One more time, bboydojo.com/teacherscamp. I'll see you over there, y'all. Have a beautiful day. Peace. Shout out to D-Prank.